So I just watched the Eight Passengers documentary after reading Sherry's memoir, and here are some key details they left out. So first and foremost, we need to talk about Jodi's possession. I don't understand why they made this so dramatic in the documentary. So essentially, if you watch a documentary, you know that they made it sound like a basic horror film and that she was actually possessed by the devil, except this isn't what happened. So in Sherry's memoir, she essentially explained that Connections was, shocker, it was a pyramid scheme. And as you could tell in the documentary, all the neighbors joined it because of Ruby and all this stuff. But essentially, what happened is that Jodi started to get more severe in her ideology and started trying to get them to pay more. And this actually ended up with half of the people in Connections leaving. So, obviously, because Jodi is a narcissist, she had a complete breakdown and she started suffering financially. And also, they were trying to convince Ruby to get away from her as well. So, in order for her to gain back control, she came up with this whole excuse that she was getting possessed by the devil, because what better way to trauma bond with someone than defeating Satan with them? So this is why she moved in the house. Like, I get they added that for entertainment value in the documentary, but I just thought they made it sound like a horror film and they left out all these important details, which leads me to my next point about Sherry getting kicked out of the house. In the documentary, they made it sound like this happened because she sent one text to Kevin. No. There was a huge buildup to this. Basically, Sherry had been rebelling against her mother and Jodi for months. She was kind of the first of the family to break out of the brainwashing and say, like, no, she's full of BS. She's a hypocrite. Nothing she says makes sense. And so this was a huge buildup to that moment. And she also said she basically knew it was coming. They also left out the huge role that Therese played in Sherry's life. So they kind of just mentioned her briefly, like, yeah, like she was one of the first people in the neighborhood to be like, no, Connection seems weird. I'm not a part of it. But she was basically like a second mother to Sherry. And I really hate that they left that out. This woman was genuinely such a godsend. She was just there to support her all the time. Like, basically when Sherry would come home from college, she stopped going to her mom's house and she would just go to Theresa's house. And so if you were kind of confused of like, why did she go to Ruby's house with the neighbor? That's why. They actually had a really close bond.